So which of these qualities do 14 to 19-year-olds consider the most attractive in a potential partner? It's good old ambition.
You're watching Britain's Brightest Daytime Show with special guest author Irvine Welsh and panellists Kay Adams and Terry Christian.
Kerry, actually.
You like Kerry? Still to come, we're going to get your thoughts on sexy scenes in novels. Do women enjoy the same kind of steamy fiction that men do? 0207 173 5555 is the number if you've got something to say. Hope so. First, though, how long can you love a loser for? Your thoughts on a genuine problem posted on an internet agony site by a 20-something woman who's worried about her boyfriend's total lack of ambition. The couple have been together for 18 months. She swears they love each other dearly. I feel like Simon Bates. But while she studied diligently... while she studied diligently, been to college and works hard to earn a living, he spends his days playing computer games and smoking pot. Her friends are professional types, while hardly any of his have a job. She says for a long time she thought his not working was just a phase he'd get over. He keeps telling her he'll get himself sorted. He just doesn't know what to do with his life yet. He pays his own way, though. He lives off some dosh he inherited, although he is on benefits too. Things came to a head recently, though, when he said he wanted to move in with her, something she has reservations about. She's concerned that his lack of ambition will ultimately ruin their romance, that it will somehow stop their relationship moving forward. Is she right to worry? I mean, they say, don't they? I can see Kay's head moving backwards and forwards like that.
God.
They say, don't they, opposites attract. But an attraction is no guarantee of lasting happiness, is it? So are couples like this bound to break up eventually if one is grafting while the other's slumped on the sofa? But hang on a minute, isn't that what all you mums at home are doing right now? Sitting on the sofa with your feet up, drinking tea, eh? While the old man's out there slaving, yeah? So won't the worker bee eventually try to change the sloth or become resentful of their other half's easy life? Maybe you've been in a similar situation. If so, give us a call. But first, the panel. And I'm going to go to you, Terry, because Liz, our makeup girl, told me earlier that you described the idea of sitting in front of a computer playing games, smoking pot, as being the ideal life.
Well, in a weird way, that's what you're ambitious for, isn't it? You know,
to do nothing.
More leisure. In the future, all the work will be done by robots. And what will we do?
That's what they kept telling me at school, but it never happened, did it?
Also, in a way, he might have the key to happiness while she's striving and fussing and faffing and all the rest of it. You know, if you read Buddhism, what does it say? You know, true happiness comes from getting rid of all your desires. And what's ambition but a desire? So he's there. He's probably in nirvana. You know? He's enlightened. And every now and then when he's getting his head pecked and he's losing his concentration and he's about to get knocked out of the European Cup semi-final of FIFA, right? And he'll say, "Oh yeah, I'll get sorted, love." But it's a bloke's way of saying, "Shut up."
I suspect you're being disingenuous.
Yeah, you're right.
You are a grafter.
Well, no, I work, but I work to live. I don't live to work. You know, my old fella always worked, and he never made any kind of... he never hid the fact that he hated working. And, like, when it was a weekend, then you wouldn't see my dad, although none of those dads did in that generation, did they? Because he did hard physical work all week. Yeah. So come a Sunday, they just do nothing.
Absolutely, slouch in front of the telly. So
no DIY shops.
In terms of this couple... what would be your advice to our 20-something woman?
Well, I would say you've probably found your ideal bloke in many ways, because he's never gonna move his backside to be unfaithful to you, is he? He's always going to be there, right? If he moves in with you, he probably wants to get a 52-inch flat screen.
Now, Irvine, what about you?
And he's got money as well. He's inherited money.
Yeah, but
maybe he's traumatised.
What would be your advice, Irvine?
If he's a rich trust fund loafer, you've got to keep him. You've got to stick with him. Because, you know, it's like, then, you know, he might chill her out a little bit. I think the thing is probably kind of meeting halfway. I mean, if he compromises a bit and kind of gets off his backside and does some stuff, and she might cooks the dinner. She can chill out a little bit, relax and all that. But I think in the long run, if you do want different things out of life and you've got different ambitions, different lifestyle, I think it does put a big strain on a relationship.
And yet they say opposites attract.
I think you summed it up. They do attract, but I mean, it's like the attraction is one thing. Actually staying together and kind of over a length of time and making a relationship work is a different thing. And that, I think, the dynamics of that mean that you do have to compromise a little bit, and you do have to. Yeah. I think in good relationships, people kind of sort of learn from each other, don't they? They kind of, they take the best bits of each other and they kind of synthesise. And I think hopefully that's what this couple would do if they got together.
If they
moved in together.
I think his inheritance might be running out. That's why.
Well,
Maybe why he wants to move in.
Kay, you were shaking your head.
Well, I just listen to that and I think women are so thick sometimes. Really thick.
I'm surprised to hear you say
because
that, Carl.
He's not the guy for her. And women always want to change a bloke. Any bloke is better than no bloke. I think that for certain women, and I think this sounds like this is one of those cases. So he's not the bloke you really want, so you're going to try and change him. I don't think he's a loser. He's just got a certain way of life. This is what he likes in his life. She's come in and decided he's not performing and doing what she wants. She's not her ideal bloke. So she wants him to change. I think he should do exactly what he wants. He should be what he wants. And she should move on and get a nice, ambitious boy in a suit, if that's what she wants.
But she might be a bit ugly as well. I sound like Ali G now, don't I? So she might have known.
You were doing so well, Terry, and then you threw it away with a one unguarded comment.
I'm trying. Oh well. I mean, I just think it's a difficult one.
That was your personal Myra Hindley there, Terry.
What am I going to do? Have you never gone out with anyone like that, Kay?
No.
Seriously, though, have you?
Well, no, my partner and I am more ambitious than him. I am definitely more ambitious than him, and he's got a much more laid-back attitude towards life. But what was
it like when you first started going out with him? Because for all you know, as soon as you heard the doorbell ring, he'd be shoving his Rizzlers off the table.
Putting the controller behind the sofa.
Pretending he's washing his pots at the last minute and all that.
He was a bit of a loser, but I was desperate.
I'm surprised that the loser guy's coming out of this pretty well so far.
Live and let live.
Let's throw it open to you. What would be your advice to this 20-something woman? Let's hear. Maybe you've been in a similar situation. Let's hear some of your stories. Kirsty, what do people say?
First, we've got Chris on line 1.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning there. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. I'm tip-top. So what's your take on this? What would be your advice to the girl?
Well, I think she ought to be a bit careful, actually, because sometimes you get what you want, and then it's not what you want after all. I was a bit of a loser. I used to sit around getting stoned all day, and then I met a wonderful woman who was very driven, career-focused, etc. And then she sort of jolted me to get my backside in gear, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, I found myself on my toes. I think it's the amount of competition that they get sometimes isn't really what they're expecting. I mean, it's all well and good when you're sitting there, and I think it comes down to a certain amount of power. They pay for you to go to restaurants and this and that, and they sort of support you in a certain way. And then when you strike out and get that sort of independence, I think sometimes, they've changed you for the better, and they suddenly realise, well, it's not really what I started out with.
So you stopped being a kind of laid-back loser guy, stepped up to the plate that she was passing to you, and then who dumped who?
Well, it was me that was sort of showing the door, really, to be honest.
Because you became the thing that she wanted you to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll use a really horrible abstract example, but it's almost, I suppose, in a way that like you're a pet. I mean, I know they love you and everything else, but it's like they sort of take care of you for a bit, and they have a little grumble at you, but that you're sort of reliable. They know where you're going to be, and so on and so forth. But after a while, it's like suddenly you're not coming in because you've got meetings, and suddenly, like you're going out and buying flash things and so on and so forth. And all because maybe, like in my case, I wanted to play my, fair part in a marriage and, work hard and so on and so forth. But
what a fool, Chris. You should have just stuck with what you had, doing nothing, enjoying the ride.
No, but sometimes, it's a simple thing that, like you find something you want to work at and then you actually want to contribute a bit. And then, it's just that sort of, it takes a special person, I suppose, really, to make you see that. And make
Absolutely.
You want to do that.
Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that you're clearly over it as well, Chris. Thank you very much for the call. Let's have another Kirsty, and we'll do our audience.
Over on line 2, we've got James.
James, good morning.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. What would be your advice to this 20-something woman?
Well, tread carefully. I think, from my own experience, having been in a relationship where I was basically the loser, it was a very long time ago. I'm 36 now.
Okay. What, were you just stuck? Were you stuck at home doing sort of nothing?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, I did have ambition, and I did have kind of dreams to kind of get myself out of the sort of new age hippie dope smoking,
Video game
Bedouin
playing.
lifestyle. But it never really happened during that relationship. And she was very driven. She was doing her A-levels.
But when you met, what was the attraction that you were opposites?
We were both incredibly physically attracted to each other.
Right, Randy.
Very,
okay.
very. And then we fell in love with each other very deeply.
Right.
And I mean, I am a highly ambitious person, and I now run an internet radio station. I'm not going to tell you what it's called because I haven't come on here to plug it.
Okay.
But during the relationship, it was just because I had no goals and she was very driven. I became very jealous of her, and she became very pissed off with me that I wasn't actually doing anything.
Okay.
You just can't. I personally don't believe a relationship based on that can work. It's just not sustainable. You can't have one person in a relationship doing F all with their life.
Right, OK. James, be careful of the language, all right? I have to apologise for the P word used earlier, which I'm sure you just meant to say upset, and it came out wrong. Yeah, just let's stop that one there. Thank you for the call. Let's have a word with our audience, Eric.
OK, next week's Poppy, who's just come out of a relationship, so how long can he love a loser for?
I would say that, Matthew, you have to, about 4 to 6 weeks, you would get to know somebody and find out what they're like.
Yeah.
I've just come out of a relationship, and the reason it broke up is because he was quite possessive over me. So I think you need your space. Obviously, you've both got to have your own ambitions, and if you've got.
But if you're in this situation where the woman is very driven and the man, and I'm kind of with our caller sort of saying it's quite possible that he's got something he wants to do. Other than build the world's biggest spliff and win the World Cup on his PlayStation. He just doesn't know. He just doesn't know what it is yet. And I can see those two opposites. I can see how it can attract at first. But what would be your advice to the woman now he says he wants to live with her? Do you give him? Do you give him that? Would you say you give him a chance and see, well, maybe he'll figure it out on his own, or would you walk away?
It depends on the status of their relationship, but I'd say age is an issue as well, because the younger the guy, the less mature. So.
Well, sometimes a lot of guys who are like that when they're younger are deep, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, but they are. They're quite deep, and that's why they do what they do, you know.
Deep is just another word for confused, isn't it?
The coach, like.
Thank you for that. Let's have another call, please.
Anna's on line 3, Matthew.
Anna, good morning.
Hello.
Hello. What would be your advice?
Well, basically, I went out with a loser for about 2 years. He was a musician, and he did have ambition.
When you say a musician, do you mean a musician like some of my friends who are actors that actually don't do any acting?
No, well, he did actually do. He had success in his with his band, and they did tour and everything, but they were flogging a dead horse, I think. And he just wouldn't. He wouldn't give it up, and basically most of the time he was at home doing nothing, sorting out his iTunes, which would take the whole day.
It does.
It was a busy day for him, and he was living off benefits, and I went to work every day, and I really wanted him to
change,
get out there and get a job and change, but he never ever did. And
Anna, meet Kay.
Hi.
2 years, Anna.
Yeah, 2 long years. And I lived with him. Don't move in with him. It's the worst thing you could possibly do.
There's a very, very well-known pop star, right, who I knew lived with his girlfriend, lived off her for, like, years, did nothing, did exactly the same. And the irony was, as soon as he got a, I think, sort of second chart hit, he dumped her.
You're full of compassion, aren't you?
Well, no, musicians are horrible, aren't they? Really, they are the devil's children.
You know what, though? I tell you what, Anna proves you right, though, Kay, doesn't she? I mean, absolutely bang on the button.
Well, that was her experience. Yeah, I think that's the way it is.
Musicians are a different breed, though. They are probably the worst.
Are they?
In terms of being selfish and that.
I'll bear that in mind.
So the only piece of useful advice we got for our woman who wrote to the online... I think at the moment you're writing to an online problem page, you should figure it out, The relationship isn't working. Anyway, the advice is don't move in with him. Thank you for the call, Anna. After the ads, who enjoys sex between the covers of a book the most? Would it be men or would it be women? For me, there are 2 types of sexy writing. The type you skim over, feeling slightly embarrassed for the author, and then there's the stuff that you like to read in private, I guess is a good way of putting it. Is it the same for you girls? 0207 173 5555 is the number for your thoughts. Who enjoys sex between the covers of a book the most? Women or men? We'll find out on the other side of the ads.
Which book would most women want to take to a desert island? Bridget Jones's Diary, Hollywood Wives, or Lady Chatterley's Lover? Find out after the ads.